Hello and welcome to Acad System 3 online courses. For today's topic, we'll take a look at the model state and representations for the assembly instead of inventor. Right. So once you have created your assembly files, so sometimes there are a few things that you would like to do, which is for your view. So for this case, we have model stage, which is where you can suppress or unsuppress. Basically, you can filter out some of these other parts that you would like to see or you don't want to see. So for that case, that will be for the model states. And the second one is the representation, which is the view. So the first thing is the view angles. So you can just save your view angles. But maybe I want to save on the back view. So I can use this view angle for this case. And the second one is the positions. Right, so sometimes there are object of your object which is can change the position, which is the movement of the object. So that you can save the position under the presentation position. So let's take a look at the model states, which where you can filter out your views or your items. So for this case, we have primary, which is the default one. So I'm going to create a few more model states. I'm gonna go and click new, click new. The first view that will be the default view, which is the full. Right, so I'm gonna name this one as all, which is all view. Second one, I want to show only for the sheet metal part only. So I'm gonna name this one as a sheet metal. The third view, that will be only the normal part only, or maybe plastic parts. So let's say I have this three. So the first one is everything. So I'm not going to change anything from here. So this will be everything from here. Second one will be the sheet metal. So for the sheet metal, I want to suppress everything except for the sheet metal. So I can find all of my part files down here. So I have bottoms, springs. In the sheet metal, we have this symbol here, which is indicate this is created using sheet metals. So I'm going to suppress, which is disable some of this. So I can just select all of this, except for the sheet metals. I can just right click to disable this. I can select suppress. So everything has been disabled except for the sheet metal part. So you can see over here, so I have sheet metal part only. So if I go to all, so I have all of the view, but for the sheet metal, I have sheet metal. Second one, I want to have all of the part except for the sheet metal parts. So I can just click and I can just right click and disable, suppress. But maybe I don't want to see this staplers and also the spring. So I can just right click and I can select suppress. So I have this plastic part only. So if I want, I can create more model states. Maybe I only want to see the top parts, or maybe I only want to see the bottom part. So I can just create more model states that I can choose from. So I'm gonna set back to all. Second one, we'll take a look at the view angle. Now let's say you work around with this angle inside, and then you need to work with different angles. So sometimes you want to go back to the previous view. So for that case, you can use representations, the view, and then you can save that particular view. So for this case, I'm gonna save one view, which is the default view, which is this will be the default view. You can just right click and select new. So this new, I'm gonna name this one as a default. Okay, so the default already been used, so I'm gonna name this one as a let's say I'm going to name this one as a view one. Now to save this view, I need to right click and select lock. So this view has been locked. Right, so I want to have a new view, so I can just click new view. So this view will be the back view. Another view will be the left view and maybe the inside view as well. Now I'm gonna go to the back view. So I can just double click at the back, and I try to reposition my view angle to the back here. So this is the view that I want to save. So I can just right click and select lock. And I'm gonna save the left view. So I can go to the left view from here. And then this is the view that I would like to save as well. So I can just right click and select lock. And I also want a view for the inside. So I can just double click on the inside and select and want to view the inside. So you can just right click and lock. So all of the view has been locked. So if I click at the view 1, which is the default view, I click the next one, which is the back view, click the left. So you can see all the angle view that you locked can be saved, and then you can just review back. So that is the view angles. Lastly is the positions. So for this case, let me just set back to default. Right. So lastly is the position. So for this case, I have a moving parts of my stapler, so it can be open and up, close and open. So if I want to have a few type of position, one is close, up, partially close, and free. So for that case, I can just save that particular view under position. So I can go to the position and right click, and I can select new. So I have the position 1. So I want to create more. So the first position, I want this position to be close. The second position, I want this to be open around 45 degrees. The third one will be open for 90 degrees. And the last one will be fully open. I also want one position which allow you to freely move. So for that case, I'm going to create a new one, another one, which is going to name this one as a free. Now, currently, if I switch to 45 degrees, it's still able to move, and it's not actually 45 degree angle. In order for you to change the positions, you need to have constraints, right? So constraint, which is I can use constraint to close this one. So if I take a look at the relationship, the constraint button is being grayed out. Because currently we actually at the open 45 degree. So if I go to the full open, also gray, close, also gray. So I need to set back to the default one, which is the primary. Only then I can use the constraint tools. Now on the constraint tools, I want to close this one. So I can use constraints. And for this case, I want to use angle constraint. So I can use angle. And I can select the axis. I can select the other axis. And then when I hit apply, so it should be able to close, but let me just check first. Let me just change the view from here. Say this axis and this axis. It is now closed for 0 degree. So if I want to open around 45, so I can just input the value. If I want to input 90, so I can just input the value from that. So for this case, on the default, I'm going to set to 0. So I have close one. Now you can go to the close in order to activate. So I can just double click close. And in order for me to change different type of constraint position, I need to find the constraint that I have created before. So to find it easily, I can just find the relationship and I can find the bottom here. So this is the last constraint that I used before. So in order for me to use this for the position, I can just right click and I can select override. And then for this case, I need to change the value. So right now, my stapler is fully closed, which is at 0 degree. So which means for this case, I can just leave it as 0. So nothing need to be changed from there. Now I want to go to the 45 degree angle. So I can just double click at the 45 and do the same things. I can override and the value. So for this case, I want this to be 45 degree. Okay, so it's now open 45 degree. So go to the open 90 degree. Again, I'm going to override and I'm going to change to 90 degree. And I want one which is fully open, which is 180 180. Okay, let's change to 180. But so for some reason it does not able to do that. So for this case, I needed to manually change this one first, one by one. So I'm gonna change this to 45. So go to open 45. So let me just override and change to, let's say, 120. Now I'm gonna change to override to 180. Now it is fully open. And now, lastly, I want to have a free move. So for this case, I can go again to my override here. Instead of changing the value, I'm going to suppress the constraint here. So I can just like suppress, and I can change to suppress over here. Once I'm okay, so I can change to close, which is fully close. I can change to 45 degree, 90 degree, fully open. Right, and I can also change to free. Right, so if currently I'm using fully open or 90 degrees, so you can see it cannot be moved. So if I go to the free here, then only I can move my object here. So that is a few things that you can do from here. So you can change your type of filter, right? So any items that you want to see or you don't want to see, you can filter using model states. Second one, you can change your view angles under the representations view. And lastly, you can change your positions of your object, the movement under position. So that's conclude our lesson with the Inventor assembly, with the model states and representation.